Good morning, everyone. It's David Doty with Call It Closed International Realty. This is our Monday morning coaching and collaboration call. And today, on March 1st, 2021, we are talking about buyer agency and why it's important that we all transition into becoming listing agents and some pointers on how to do that. And then we're going to finish up talking about the Seller Net Spreadsheet, which is a valuable tool that we use when we are sharing with our prospective sellers how much not only can they sell their home for, but how much will they walk away with at the end of the day when they leave the closing table. So if you are in the Charlotte market and you are trying to sell an average priced home or anything below that, even homes up into the $500,000 and $600,000 price range, it is tough to be a buyer's agent right now because there's such a lack of inventory. There are not enough homes to sell and prices are going up and up. And for the average first-time buyer who doesn't have deep pockets, who doesn't have the shiniest credit profile, who doesn't have $10,000 to throw away on due diligence, it is tough right now. And especially the closer you are into the city. So we're seeing prices go up 2 to 3% a month. And it's absolutely insane what is going on. I saw a deal the other day with our buyer clients. One of our agents had a buyer working on a home, a $199,000 listing, 3-bed, 2-bath in Charlotte. And the home was in coming soon, so no showings. And our agent was writing an offer and they were putting down $11,000 in due diligence. Absolutely insane to do that on a house that you've not even stepped inside of. But that's the reality that we are living in if you want to get your buyers under contract. It's really difficult right now for buyers. I listed a house in Concord a few weeks ago with a tenant in it. The tenant's uncooperative. We're not even able to have pictures of the inside of the house because she threw the photographer out. And listing the house at $300,000 with no photos of the interior, we had 5 offers over the weekend without even a single photo of the interior of the home. It's
Wow.
absolutely insane what is happening right now. So how can we combat that? If you are a real estate agent who needs to sell some houses to feed your family, to pay for your kids' tuition, or whatever it is that you're doing with the money you earn, what are you going to do? Well, it's important to transition to becoming a listing agent. Why? Well, you might say you really like being a buyer's agent. You don't want to be a listing agent. Well, if there aren't homes to sell, what are you going to sell to your buyers? So here's an idea. You have a buyer looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in the 28027 zip code. You can look for them and try to find a house that's off market. One way to do that would be to go after old expired listings. There are homes. There's not a lot of expired listings right now because prices are so high, inventory is so low, the market is so hot. But what if you were to go and search the MLS for expired listings from a year ago, from 2 years ago? People who tried to sell, maybe their home wasn't ready for the market, maybe they had priced it too high. There's one I'm going after in my own neighborhood that about a year and a half ago, they had the house on the market. They priced it about $40,000 too high. And after 4 or 5 months on the market, they decided to take the house off. I actually had shown it to a prospective buyer, and my buyer said, home wasn't in good enough condition. And I agreed. I think the price was, about $40,000 too high. Well, guess what? Now the values have appreciated, and where they were asking $370 for that house a year and a half ago that was worth $330, it's now worth about $400, maybe $390, depending on if they've replaced the carpet upstairs that was threadbare. And so I'm going to go after them and say, hey, I saw you guys had listed that. I remember showing your house, beautiful property. you were asking 370. What if I could sell it today for 390 in the exact same condition? Would you allow me to list your property? And they just might say yes if they're still interested in selling. So old expireds are something that a lot of agents are not even thinking to go after. Usually people pound the phones with expired listings the week, the day, the month that they go off the market. But you can go after the old ones, 12 to 18 to 24 months old, or even older. Go after them. Make sure that they haven't been relisted. Make sure that they're not for sale somewhere else, but go after them. The other thing, the other pressure that's happening to buyer's agency right now is commissions are dropping. Now, we all probably are aware of Ryan Homes here in the Charlotte market, that back when the market was not so hot and buyer agency was builders were more interested in catering to agents so that we would bring our buyers by. Now Ryan Homes is paying a flat fee, $2,500. It's not even 1% of a lot of the homes that they list. I have one under contract that's closing at the end of the month. $2,500. Goodbye 3%. Open Door and Zillow have been testing for the last year how low they can go on their buyer agency commission. So Open Door in particular, in one of their largest markets, I think it might have been in the Phoenix area, last year, they were on their homes that they were listing, they were started doing half of them at 3% and the other half at 2.5%. And then after a few months, because they were testing, like, if we start offering less in buyer's agency, are we still going to be able to sell these homes? Will realtors still show them? And they realized, yes, they can. So then they dropped it. They stopped doing 3% altogether, and they're paying 2.5 or 2.25. And again, because of the low inventory, buyer's agents are still bringing buyers to their houses, and they're selling. Now they're dropping it to 1.5%.
Wow.
And their homes are still selling, just like Ryan Homes are still selling. So there's a lot of pressure, and it's not just Open Door. Zillow is doing it as well. We have other brokerages that are doing it as well. As you guys know, in real estate, we don't fix prices. We can't collude together and say, oh, come on, everybody, we're all going to charge 10% and pay 5% to a buyer's agent. That's against the law, and it's ethically wrong. So we're not able to do that. So what are we going to do to protect our income from the future? And the way to do that is to become the listing agent. So go after old expireds, door knock, get out there. Brent and I were talking earlier. Brent was saying that he's going to hang some door hangers. He's got a video that he's making specific for a neighborhood that he's targeting. Geo farming is important as well. So send mailers. We use Real Marketing. I've had great success so far with Real Marketing, and highly encourage you guys to check that out. And let me know if you have any questions. I did not even know this until Brent signed up, but I got an email from the salesman at Real Marketing, and he gave me a $500 credit because Brent signed up. And boy, that goes a long way in helping out my budget. So Brent, thank you for signing up. I didn't know that I was getting a kickback, but I will be grateful for that. But as you guys start using Real Marketing, I think you'll understand and see the value in it, the power of it. The thing is, I've heard different numbers, but it's between 75 and 80% of home sellers only interview one agent before they list their home for sale. So if you get a listing appointment, just by default, you have a 75 to 80% chance of getting that listing. So the important thing is to be the one that they are interviewing. It's incredibly important. The most important thing that we can do when we want to become a listing agent, when we want to start listing homes, is to network. We have to work our own sphere of influence. Everybody you know needs to know that you are a listing specialist. I kind of lucked out. I'd always heard that, you list to last, and listings are the important main driver of business and business continuity in real estate. When I was in my first year as a licensed agent, I took an elective course called the Strategic Listing Specialist. It was all about pricing and had some scripts in there. It was done by Joanne Mangum, Jam Coaching. She's out of Raleigh. It was a very great, it was a very helpful 2-day class, especially as a new agent. And I started telling everybody, it was in my email signature, it was on my Facebook profile, that I was a strategic listing specialist at the time with Remax. And guess what? People called me when they wanted to sell their house. I just kind of defaulted. Over the course of my relatively short-lived real estate career, over the past 6 years, 80% of my business has been listings, and I wouldn't have it any other way, especially during this time. If COVID has done anything for us, it has given us the green light. Everybody expects you to be working from home nowadays. So if you can do listing appointments via Zoom, I love the fact that I can work from home. Literally 90% of what I do is from this desk right here in my house. My kids are doing online school like many of you guys have experienced. And I'm doing, most of my listings are within 2 to 3 miles of my home. And I am continually here overseeing my children. And then I run out and drop a sign in the yard or put the lockbox out or pick one up. And I'm able to create my own schedule. I'm not bowing to any buyers saying, I've got to go see this house now. And it's a great life. Now, some buyers are fun to work with. Some are a lot more work, but when you are a listing agent, you can be free and you can work remotely. And so what is happening even more now is that with an assistant, I could pick up this business and I could move to Florida or California or Puerto Rico or anywhere and continue my listing business, because nowadays we can work via email, text, and even Zoom. So there's a lot of perks to becoming a listing agent. So I want to talk a little bit about this seller net spreadsheet, and I'm going to share this because it's a valuable tool, and I like to provide value when I can. And I can send a copy of this to anybody who wants it. Just send me an email and I will send it back to you. This is a net proceeds calculator, okay? And it's important to give this to your clients when you are listing their house. Now, I always customize it. I named this net proceeds calculator for Joe and Jane sample. I don't like to say John and Jane because that's overused, and that was also the names of my parents. And so I heard that all my life. My parents, John and Jane Doe T. Great. So put in the property address. Now, this would be the estimated sales price, and this is all customizable. You can put in, need to stop hitting the enter button. So depending on whatever the sales price is, whatever you think you can sell that property for, you add that. I'm going to keep it back where it was. Now, traditionally, these 3 lines would be combined. Most people, when they use something, some derivative, some fashion of this form, of this spreadsheet, they're going to put real estate fee, realty fee, whatever, and they have it broken down into one line, and it would be 6%, 10%, 5%, whatever they charge. Now, I think it's very important that we break it out. If you're not going to do all 3, like I do marketing, promotion, seller's agency, buyer's agency, at least do buyer's agency and seller's agency. Do listing fee and buyer's agency. we need to be careful that we are sharing with our clients what they are paying the buyer's agent. There are a lot of lawsuits flying around, even against the National Association of Realtors right now, because sellers are not even aware what they are paying the buyer's agents. And a lot of times the buyer's agents aren't even, I mean, the buyers are not even aware of what the buyer's agents are getting. So I like to do this because if I just put 6% here and people are going, you're paying, I'm going to pay you $34,500 to sell my house. Well, a lot of that's going to go to the buyer's agent. So let's just break that out. And I have that at 3%. And they are going to say, do I have to pay the buyer's agent 3%? No, you don't. You absolutely do not. Because if you tell them that you do, you might just be liable for a lawsuit. So be aware of that. And if you wanted to change that, you just go up in here and you could change that to 0.025, 0.02. If it's a really hard to sell property, you might want to pay them 5%. Okay, but that's customizable. Marketing and promotion, I like to say, because many people want to negotiate the fee that we are charging for real estate sales. And so I think it's helpful if you break it up, and I could say, I'm going to spend this amount on marketing and promotion. That's going to cover my realtor dues, my MLS fees, my sign and lockbox, the fact that I'm paying somebody to go out to put the sign in the yard, all of that stuff. And there's a script around that. And then of course the seller's agency. And you can say, obviously, all of that's not necessarily going to come to me. There are fees involved and I have to pay for my car and all of that other stuff. Okay. Deed preparation. This is going to vary by state and it's going to even vary by attorney, but you might expect a seller to pay $450 or so to the attorney to prepare the deed. In North Carolina, the seller always pays for the deed preparation. In North Carolina also, there are tax stamps, state excise tax that must be paid whenever somebody sells property. The seller pays tax to the state government. If there's a mortgage on the property, you're typically going to pay $75 to $100 to the attorney to overnight the closing documents to your to your bank where you have your mortgage. There's an HOA transfer fee. Also in North Carolina, the state mandates that the seller pay the HOA transfer fee if the home is in a homeowners association. The reason for that, a number of years ago, the buyers always paid for that. And it kind of makes sense that the buyer would pay for that. I mean, you're buying a house. Why should the seller pay for their account to be closed and for your new account with the HOA or the management company to be set up? Well, what buyers were running into is that they would try to they would call the HOA management company and say, hey, I'm buying 123 Main Street. I'd like to get my account set up. I want to find out about the dues. And the HOA company, the management company would say, sorry, you're not a client of ours. We can't talk to you. And they would call the sellers and say, hey, have the management company talk to me. And the sellers would be like, I'm too busy moving. Forget about it. That's your problem. And it just led to a headache. And so eventually the law was changed about 6 years ago. And now the seller must pay that fee. And guess what? That fee is going up. It's going up. I know in my community, it's now $275. 6 months ago, it was 200, and about a year ago, it was 150 or something like that. Management companies are seeing dollar signs. They know that they can charge pretty much whatever they want, but don't let your sellers be blindsided about that. Now, granted, most of the time it's going to be paid outside of closing. You're going to be under contract on selling your house and selling your listing in Concord or wherever it is. And a couple weeks before closing, the attorney is going to send your seller an invoice and say, hey, give us your credit card. We're going to bill you for that. And so don't let your sellers be blindsided by that. And also down here, we've got a proration of real estate property taxes. As you know, at least in North Carolina, if the home is being sold before the real estate taxes have been paid, the seller is going to have to pay at closing their portion, the real estate property tax, for the time that they own the house. So if you're closing June 30th, they're going to pay roughly 1/2 of that real estate taxes, of those real estate taxes. If they have an escrow account, they will be reimbursed for that. Probably a month or so after closing, they will receive a check. So you can tell them to be on the lookout for that. And then here, this is just a spread, a sum of all of these fees together. And then you add in whatever their approximate loan payoff is. If they have a second mortgage or a HELOC, you would add those here. And this is going to give them the amount. This is just adding up these three lines, and it's going to tell them what their payoff is. So if they had a $50,000 HELOC, that will be added there. And then this just takes the sales price minus the selling cost minus whatever they owe on the home. And this is going to tell them about what they are able to expect when you go to closing. It's a great tool. Highly recommend that you guys all use it. If you have some sellers, it's never a bad idea to print this off and have them sign it and add it to the file. But at the very least, send it to them in an email and tell them, play with the numbers, see what you think. And I think that you'll find people really appreciate that tool. So that's all I am going to say about that. It is 9:30. Do you guys have any comments or questions?
I do have a question about, I love, number one, I'm going to send an email. I want to get that spreadsheet. That is awesome. The strategic listing specialist, that JAM training, is that still available out there?
I would think it probably is, Brent. I'll look her up. It was Joanne Mangum, Mangum, I think. And she would kind of travel around the state and offer that class and a couple other classes. But it was JAM coaching, JAMM, and I could certainly look that up and see if I can find that for you. But it was a really good class, I thought.
Was it something that you could use for your, like the education each year? I think we got to have that done by June.
It was an elective, and I think it was either 12 or maybe even 16-hour class. You only get 4 hours of credit for your continuing education as an elective. Okay. But I found it worthwhile.
Okay.
Great question. Anything else, guys? Any other questions, comments? Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining. I'm going to run to a coffee meeting with a prospective agent. I love how many people are coming over to join this great company. And if anybody has any questions about Call It Closed, I would love the opportunity to sponsor you at Call It Closed. You can text me directly at 704-780-3084. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.